In the previous videos, I mentioned about how a narcissist or any toxic person for that matter, they feel the need to rush the building process of a relationship, friendship, any kind of bonding. They seem to totally disregard the natural organic process of building a bond with another person or a group of people. And in order to make it happen, I have to point out the number one thing they do is use a lot of flattery, dishonest compliments, but consistent. Because, see, if you want to build a relationship, a kind of rapport with another person on genuine terms, it actually takes a lot of time, reasonable amount of time, organic development of bonding between the people. And again, even after all that, you still don't know whether you grow enough to trust the other person, to enough to call them friend or lover or husband or wife or anything like that. Which means it will take a reasonable amount of time, which is healthy, which is actually desirable. But what happens is, in order to fast forward in this bonding process, there is no other way but to use a lot of BS, bullshit. And the quickest way for any person to make you fall for the other person or just totally be enamored and occupied by this amazing person is using flattery. So you have to look out for this again. Any toxic person, any abusive person, initially, especially it is more prevalent in the narcissistic traits. The first thing they do is they smother you with a lot of compliments. They literally, it engulfs you. The level of optimism they show, and everything that you say, you do, the way you look, from A to Z, everything about you is some sort of a miracle that has happened. They make it look like that. They make it seem like it for you. The problem is, anybody with a little bit of shaky self-esteem would fall for this. They do. Everybody is out there looking for someone to compliment them, appreciate them and all that. And a typical toxic person, they hook, bait and sinker using that technique. All they have to do by fast forwarding the natural organic process of building bonds is use heavy flattery, heavy appreciation, all dishonest compliments that they pour on you. And they do it quite often. Especially, they don't have the capacity to actually see you for who you are as a person. So most of the compliments would be superficial, materialistic, something about the looks or something about the job or something about your house or car or bike or your trips that you take or something that has to do with the material aspect of your life. Not very much about the qualities of who you are, because again that takes a lot of time. There are some people who use things like, oh, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're funny, you're capable. But someone just randomly coming out of nowhere and building this super quick building rapport, and then these compliments are pouring out from them. Don't fall for it just because you have a little bit of inclination to hear compliments. Doesn't mean you fall for the next person that comes along with all this pouring out compliments on you. Don't fall for it, because 9 times out of 10 when someone is doing this, it's because they are toxic, because they have an agenda. Red flag. It's a huge red flag. Typically in a narcissistic relationship pattern, they call it love bombing stage. It's not just in the very first, it actually happens in cycle. Like I mentioned, this destructive people and their behavior patterns runs in circles. It goes in circles. So every once in a while they keep coming back to that compliment thing. That over smothering with unusual and superficial, but also more in frequency, so that you don't forget. If it's a genuine compliment, it only comes once in a while based on occasion. It has to be, it's right that way. But then if a person is trying to smother you, consume you, they have to be in your mind constantly. The goal is that. So in order to put themselves in that position of, oh, this person is so amazing, he or she sees all these amazing things about me, nobody has ever appreciated me like this, and this person has come along and is constantly smothering me with their gooey eyes, looking at me, saying, you're so cute, you're so pretty, you're so nice, you're such a kind person. Doesn't matter what the compliments are. The fact is they want to stay on your mind constantly. And to achieve that and to throw you off your ground, they have to consume you with all this superficial, artificial compliments which are totally dishonest. Most of the times they are dishonest because they are not even coming from a place of understanding of who you are as an individual. They are all superficial. But any person with self-esteem issues, any person who doesn't have a bullshit meter alert on, they will fall for this behavior quickly. And that's where the journey actually begins. The journey for the destruction of that individual begins with their own shaky self-esteem, being totally happy that somebody is smothering them with all these compliments, and they are never ending. They keep coming. So much of admiration, so many good things in me that I have never even noticed myself, and this person has newly come into my circle and they are like enamored by all that. They just love me so much and they love me for who I am. What a luck, what a beautiful thing. And that's where they make you fall. And this is just stage one, because there are other stages which are all destructive. But this is the only phase that will help them secure their prey in order for the rest of the phases to follow. And whenever you seem to be slipping off their grip, whenever you seem to be somehow on the verge of trying to figure out something is wrong here, the red flag, the alarm bells in your senses going off, if they sense it, and they'll come back to the love bombing stage again. They'll come back to the, hey, you know what, let's go to do this, let's do this. And they might even spend some money on you, take you out somewhere or do something nice for you or whatever. Because see, they're very penny pinching, because they just are extremely selfish beings. And they think others should spend on them rather than them spending on others. So if that kind of person comes around and spends some time or money on you, effort on you, I'll bet you they will drag you to through situations where you will pay back 1,000 times more. Trust me, anybody who has gone through narcissistic abuse and been through relationships of any kind, familial, romantic, non-romantic, workplace, narcissistic behaviors with people like that, they know exactly what I mean, what I'm saying here. They give something, they will take back 1,000 times more, and they will take it with force. They will take it to such an extent you will not even know that you're being drained emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and financially. So they are all takers. Initially, you may not see it. That is why the initial first very, very small tiny portion of this journey with them, these toxic abusers, begin with giving. They only give because their agenda is to receive a hell lot more eventually. Once you're hooked in, you will give. You will give and you will be in a position to give. They manipulate you. They trick you. They do whatever. They know they have the tools. They are the expert there. Because that's the only way they know how to live. But we are the ones who should be careful. Watch out for these behaviors and be extremely careful about someone who suddenly enters your circle and engulfs you with all these compliments left, right and center, leaving you no room to breathe, to even check whether the compliments are real or not. And that's actually easiest way to make a person pay attention to you in any social circle, in any social interaction. Unfortunately, it can be used for genuine complimenting, but it can also be used heavily by these abusers to hook their prey onto them. Nobody gives them that kind of appreciation and attention. So giving them that little bit of ego boost in the initial stages is the only way quickly they can secure their prey. And once you are in, and I already told you about other techniques they use to trigger you emotionally, to keep you insecure, to only give compliments. Later on, the compliments will turn into abuse, criticisms, putting you down, everything that's extremely. Suddenly, everything becomes wrong about you. Once you're hooked in and they sense that you will never go out there and take anybody else's attention or give your attention to anybody else, they are so super happy that you don't have any other options. Now all their control is on you. Then starts full-fledged abuse where everything is criticism about you. Qualities, the way you look, everything. The moment you get up from the bed to the moment you go back to the bed, full day will be about what's wrong with you. And then you will never know how come this person who has complimented everything that's awesome about me is now doing all this to me. Instead of thinking there is something wrong with them, what we get trauma bonded into thinking is, what's wrong with me that I turned into such a nice, kind, loving person who absolutely loved me and complimented me every day, such engulfed by, he or she is enamored by me initially, and the same person is now doing all this to me. It must be mean that I have done something wrong. Maybe something is wrong with me. And then the process starts. You will think that it has to be about you, that you have to please them left, right and center 24/7, 365 days non-stop. All the attention, love, kindness, resources go to them and they will be fixed. That's how you will be trained to think, that it can be fixed by totally sacrificing and giving ourselves up for them, and entire dynamic will be about pleasing them, stroking their ego. And you will forget who you are totally by then, because you are convinced that you are something wrong. That is why this awesome person turned into a devil. No, they were the devil. You got covered and smothered by their illusion. It's called smokes and mirrors. And before you see the truth, you're already in a relationship with them, married to them, or somehow legally bound to them, financially sunken into some kind of contracts or whatever with them, some kind of a dynamic which is a by basic toxic and unhealthy. And you will not have enough self-esteem by that time to see the truth for what it is and get out. Very few people manage to get out by this stage. A lot of people by this stage have already killed their own self-respect and self-esteem, and they are in confusion because they are telling that it is something wrong with them, because this angel of a person suddenly became the monster of a person. So I must be the bad person here who turned him like that, who turned her like that. So let me just reframe it, fix everything. So you will think that by sacrificing yourself, things will be fixed or can be fixed. At least you are made to believe like that. They will even suggest things like that. The toxic abuser will make suggestions or clearly indicate, and every day they remind you that you are the problem. And they tell you one most important line: nobody else likes you. Nobody else is interested in being with you. I am the only one. You are at my mercy. That insecurity is commonly triggered among the victims in narcissistic abuse, in actually all toxic abusive relationships. So they play this power game telling you that you are nothing without me and nobody likes you, and I am the only one who is willing to be with you even when you are in such a nasty person who triggers this monster in me. But still I'm willing to be with you. But you know what? Nobody else is interested in you. By this time their social circle is diluted. They have no support system. They have no friends, no functioning proper financial status. Their jobs have already been ruined. All the quality of life that they had before this abuser entered their life would have been diluted by then. It won't take much long actually. How broken our self-esteem and how wounded our individual is from the childhood or any other kind of other traumas or abuse will decide how quickly they fall into these kind of abusive relationships. And the quicker their whole life and quality of life falls apart. It just falls apart. So by the time they see this monster, they will not have anything to hold on to in their life. They can look around and all they see is this abuser who is telling them that they are the problem, and so they deserve to be punished and mistreated like this constantly. The same person who deserved all the compliments magically in the very, 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 very beginning, suddenly all of that is gone, and this person has zero support system outside of this abuser, and the dynamic continues until the person wakes up to the truth of what's happening in this dynamic. They no longer want to be part of it. They develop courage. They try to heal their own trauma, which has actually enabled this abuser to enter their lives and do this damage to them. Very rarely healthy people enter into relationships with narcissistic people, even friendships. Even all their friendships are superficial as all the other relationships are for an abuser. So very, very rarely real healthy solid people enter into this kind of relationship with people with narcissistic abuser, and rarely they become long term. They quickly catch on to the abuse. They see the toxicity, something they've missed in the beginning, and they learn to walk away, and they have some kind of a inner motivation or the outside support system managing to escape. But 95% of the cases, that's not the case. They go through the whole cycle of abuse that will take a long time, depending on how much the person can willingly heal themselves and see the toxic dynamic and have the courage to take steps to walk away from them and build a new life. But to imagine that all of this has begun with compliments and praises and kindness and trips to somewhere and gifts and beautiful things that has seduced you into seeing this person as some sort of a guardian angel that has been from heaven sent to you on earth, turned into monster. You won't believe that's exactly how quickly it slips into that abuse place, from the super compliment angel face to the monster face. All we have to do is actually pay attention, because these people, they study their victims before they enter their lives. They observe, and they know compliments and praises and appreciation are the easiest and quickest way to gather somebody's attention and give enough number of feeding to their ego, and they will be there. They will use it. It's a human weakness, but they exploit it like anything. So you have to watch out for those red flags. The huge red flag that comes in the very beginning stages is this over complimenting, smothering. Once in a while there are people who compliment, even total strangers. We sometimes get so carried away that we go and appreciate them about something. That can happen. I'm saying they will smother you. It's like I said, the goal is to keep your head occupied with them. In your head, the image should be like this angel, this awesome person who sees everything that's good in you, like you're some sort of a perfect soulmate for them, that they fit you perfectly, you fit them perfectly. They seduce you with the illusion to get you hooked. But very quickly, it turns into a nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. So watch out for people who do this, because they do not like it when you take the compliments easily. For a very solid person with healthy, grounded principles and with solid self-esteem, they usually wouldn't fall for these kind of over-exaggerated compliments. They see the dishonesty in them. That's why it's called flattery. They do not fall flat. They are usually responding with something polite, nice, neutral, and walk away. These kind of people narcissists hate because they are not falling for the bait. The flattery is the bait for the illusion, the fantasy that they are going to create in your head, which will eventually turn into a nightmare, which will be turned against you, telling you that you are the problem. The one who is the solution suddenly becomes the one who is the problem. So the bait, it's the bait. Don't fall for the bait. Don't take the bait. As long as it's honest and it's coming genuinely and they are saying something that you already did and displayed. It's coming from an honest place, genuine compliment. Take it, appreciate it, and walk away. Don't have to fall for it. Don't be so weak in your self-esteem that you fall for flatteries, knowing fully well sometimes that it is fully dishonest.